Well, hello there. Thank you for joining me yet again. In this episode, episode that is pretentious. In this video, anyway, in this video, I'm going to continue talking about the 30-day movie challenge, and the question that I'm going to answer next was, what was the last movie I watched? And the last movie I watched, can you guess? Wedding. Oh, the beautiful wedding. The Danish Girl. Probably the biggest regret I have for this year was not watching this film as soon as I did. I went to see Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them on the day that it came out, and I remember telling Tom, saying that I was looking forward to it, but I didn't really care for Eddie Redmayne, and he was like, he literally looked like I snapped a rabbit's neck right in front of him. He was like, "You don't like Eddie Redmayne?" I was like, "No." I was like, "Have you seen The Danish Girl?" "No." "Well, that's why." Okay? Because, I had only seen him in Les Mis before, and, he was alright. By the way, I will do a video about Fantastic Beasts later on, because it makes sense with the challenge, because it's what was the last film that you saw in theatres? I can talk about it, but also, I just want to talk about it anyway. I thought I had grown out of my Harry Potter phase, but when the first trailer came out, I was like, I'm not growing out of my Harry Potter phase. And so I watched the actual film, and I realised that Eddie Redmayne was actually quite a good actor, and so I decided to check The Danish Girl out. And now I can understand why people were offended by my indifference. So, even though I saw Fantastic Beasts first, I'm going to talk about The Danish Girl first, because it affected me more deeply and I need to get these emotions out of me right now. Inspired by true events, The Danish Girl is about the marriage between Gerda Gottlieb and Ina Weyner, the latter of whom undergoes the groundbreaking transition into Lily Elber, who was one of the first known pioneers of sex change surgery. It turns out that I absolutely love this film and adore it, and in the past 3 days I've watched it 3 times and actually read the script because I managed to find that. I don't know how. Sexual and gender identity will always be subjects of endless fascination for me, and I did a project about it in college about a year or 2 ago, so I wouldn't say I'm ignorant on these matters, but it would be very foolish to go about it as if with some certainty, seeing as I'm not trans, nor do I know anybody personally who is trans. And I understand that it's different for every situation, so there'll never be a point where you can stop learning. It's always going to be a journey of knowledge and stuff. So in this video I may say some things that might offend people, but that's just a slip of the tongue or something. I really don't mean to offend people, and I'm sorry if that happens. But if people get mad at me, I don't mind. If it's the only way that I'll learn, then you can get mad at me. I encourage it. I don't mind. So on to the film itself. It's not just the story alone that makes it an incredible piece of work, but the way it's just put together in total. The colours are bold. The composition is gorgeous. Music and the artwork used in it are masterpieces in themselves. But it's just my favourite part of the film is the performance. There are no bad performances. The actors with not so much to do are great. The actors with a lot to do are greater, and I think that's only because you see them more. The chemistry between Eddie Redmayne and Alicia Vikander, I believe her name is, it's just electric. It's even when they're arguing, you can feel the love that these characters have for each other. It's just... They both shine as a team, and they both shine as solo performers. Gerda, who's played by Alicia Vikander, is probably my favourite female character of all time. Because I hate it when, people write strong female characters as, a stereotypical tomboy, and they have to be masculine, or they're bitchy, or, they're emotionally stunted, or whatever. But Gerda's strong because she's managing to power on through, despite her vulnerabilities, whilst still remaining in herself feminine. When Lily, whom Gerda is married to, starts her transition, Gerda is racked with worry, which is completely understandable because back then men were men and women were women. There were no middle ground or anything. Which is why it's an amazing story about Lily, because she was one of the first people. She had no one to guide her through this. This was completely new for her. So scary, and like, oh, it would have been so hard to be just shut down and just pretend to be someone that you're not, because it was easier. But what makes Gerda all the more likeable is that even though she thought there was something wrong with her husband, she refused to let him be treated like a lesser person. And the story is about the both of them. So you have as much sympathy for Gerda as you do Lily, because to let Lily live, you have to let Ina die, and Gerda was like married to Ina for like 6 years, so... And it's hard on Gerda as well, because like at the start, when she didn't realise that Ina was actually a woman, she thought that she had to deal with this strange, why do you want to dress up as a woman, whilst also the fact that Ina was cheating on her. Spoilers. Like, when Lily started to become a person, she was like going off with men, so it wasn't Ina cheating on her, it was Lily having her own romantic fling and stuff. But, well, because Lily and Gerda were still together at that point, I do feel like it was kind of cheating, and that's the bit that's not right, really. Because in context, of course, it's understandable. It's like, this is a completely new person with new feelings and stuff. Well, no, it's not. It's not a new person. This is what I meant. Okay. Again, Lily is a separate person to Ina, so she has separate feelings and all that jazz. There we go. But yeah, she was still married to Gerda. It doesn't really matter about the gender of the people involved. Cheating on a loved one isn't okay. Because it wasn't like Lily was exclusively into guys as well, and that the marriage was just a cover-up. She was both romantically and sexually attracted to Gerda with a passion, and although over time the lust subsided, the love was always there. Wanting to be a woman, that's something to be understood. But getting intimate with another person, that's something to be forgiven. And like, because of that, Lily's so lucky to have Gerda. In the screenplay, like just reading it, Gerda seemed like rather like she was still likeable, but like only because of her morals, which I'm making sound like it was a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing at all. I'm just like written down, Gerda is a good person. But what I'm saying is that the developed character was made even more so by the performance that the actress brought. I think it could have been so easy to make this character unlikable and arrogant, but as she is, she's just charming. Lily is just a gorgeous character too. I mean, like I said, she has her flaw, but characters need to have flaws or else they're boring. Yes, she has flaws, but I don't mean that like that should be taken out of the story. It's not a flaw with the film. It's just it's a character trait, which is how it's meant to go, because perfection doesn't exist. Humans have flaws, and Lily is human, and her flaws are forgivable ones. Eddie Redmayne, both as a man and a woman, is beautiful. I don't know what they've done, but in his male form, they've managed to make him look more like ladylike than he usually do in real life. I mean, I know, like, he's not exactly a Stallone figure in real life, but like, yeah, you know, him as a man in this reminds me of Glenn Close as a man in Albert Nobbs. There's there's already an air of androgyny about him, and he's absolutely outstanding. I know that's cliche to say of a popular Oscar winner, but it's just completely deserving. He said in an interview that he did his research and got to talk to loads of people in the trans community, and they would just answer every question that they had openly, and which I really admire, because this type of thing isn't common knowledge, and it can be so frustrating when you just have to explain to people over and over and over again and they just don't seem to get it. It's really admirable that they're willing to just be patient and guide us out of ignorance instead of scold us for it. By that I mean like be angry at people who are like who genuinely want to learn, not just people who are being dicks for the hell of it. you can scold them all you want. The ending was so fucking traumatic though. Like, there was me thinking that was going to be a lovely, heartwarming story, and then so like, this is major spoiler now, but like, she dies, she fucking dies, and it's like, after everything you've gone through and that happens, like, he even had me like going like, oh, she didn't even need the surgery, the second surgery, she could have just, you know, just lived her life as Lily without the surgery, she didn't have to die, this could all have been avoided. But but that's just me, just as if they don't know the consequences of surgery, because of course they know what the consequences of surgery are. Like not all trans people need surgery, because granted, it's stuff to do with your brain and not necessarily your physical body, but like, for some people it is to do with the body as well. And this is when you know that it is a big deal, when the risk of death is worth more than the pain of not being yourself. And it's just like upsetting that there are trans people still dying, like, either at their own hand or at others because of it. And it's like, it's almost 2017. There was a bit of controversy on Tumblr, as there usually is, about casting Eddie Redmayne, a cis actor, in a trans role. Cis person being someone who's mentally comfortable with their physical gender. So like me, like girl up here, girl down there. And when the film was being advertised, I had the same questions too. Like, well, like, are we just assuming that trans actors aren't good enough to take on the role? But then on the other hand, this is a story about transition. So, like, for example, would a trans woman actor be happy in this role pretending to be a man when she's already had enough of pretending to be a man in real life, if you know what I mean? And that's not rhetorical, by the way. I'm genuinely interested to know, because like, I don't know any trans actors, or do I? I'll Google it. I just know that there aren't many, and we can do with more. But yeah, like, if you have anything to say, or like want to leave a comment or have a link that you can send me to so I can learn more about this, then please do, because like I said, I'm always fascinated by this type of stuff, like endlessly. It will never be boring for me. To sum up, I'm completely in love with this film, as you can tell by my painting. I love this film so much. Oh. The performers are on point, the chemistry is wonderful, it reignites like that passion to create, and perfectly like surmises why people have this innate desire and need to create things. And it's just nice. Lily Elba's death, as is with all trans people's death, it's just painful injustice due to bad timing in regards to attitude and current medical progress. She had nobody to guide her, but because of her bravery, billions of people now have somebody to guide them. And yeah, I'm glad.